Hello, everybody. Welcome to an episode of Legacy Leaders. I'm Scott McMeans, and today I'm joined by Casey Gillespie. How do you pronounce that last name? I'll redo it.
Gillespie.
Gillespie. God
Gillespie.
damn.
Yep,
All right.
you're good. It happens. At
That's
least
all right.
my grandmother used to call it Gillespie. Gillespie. She could
Gillespie.
never
I knew it.
she
I
could
know what
never
the
get
hell was I
it
doing? All right.
right.
Sad, man. All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Legacy Leaders. Scott McMeans is joined today by Casey Gillespie of the cool Columbus Wizards. Probably didn't even know they existed, did you? But we're here to talk about how is it that somebody can bring a basketball team to Columbus, Ohio, have it be a professional league, and actually make money doing it. So let's talk about it. Casey, I'm going to give you the microphone and the camera. They're all yours. Tell us your story. How did you become a sports franchise owner? And what's the journey that you want to take the Columbus Wizards on?
Yeah, so to give you a little bit of background, I'll take you back to 2019, and I was a part of a kind of a recreational league here in town called WCBL, stood for West Side Community Building Leaders, or West Side Basketball League is kind of what it started out as. And so it was a recreation league that kind of operated here on the west side of town. A bunch of guys that knew each other came together for a league. There was plans to take that to a professional league at that point in time. I believe it was the UBL or United Basketball League or something like that. But those plans didn't come through. For whatever reason, it fell through with the league. And so I took the initiative to venture into minor league professional basketball myself. Had a conversation with Joe Newman, who is the basically the owner of the American Basketball Association, and was able to secure rights to a team here in Columbus. I was able to partner up with a gentleman that I worked with. We took the team down to Florida, won a national championship, brought it back here to Columbus. Uh, had to battle through COVID, and then being
Oh,
in the individual that founded the team, we split ways. Bad business relationship. So I took a few months off, and then I had some of the players that had played for me in the past kind of encourage me. Hey, man, we really like the way that you operate. We know that you care about us. We know that you care about our careers, and so we want to see you continue with this. And so I got together with my longtime friend Jared Smith, who actually runs a very successful youth skills and development training brand here in town called Wizard Workouts. And we had the discussion about taking the brand nationally. Fortunately, we have two divisions within Wizard Workouts. We have the basketball side. We have another good friend of mine, Gage Brown, that runs the football side. So that program in itself is all encompassing, catered towards the youth. And so we wanted to take that process, take that love, take that passion, and bring it here to the
love it.
professional stage. And so I've been fortunate enough to have some very good relationships built along the way with some individuals I never thought would have been imaginable. But it's been a fun ride, and it's led us to what will be our debut season in the basketball league in the spring of 2026, with an opening weekend of February 27th to 26th.
That's so damn cool. So this is one hell of a journey, right? I mean, from what I picked up, passion for basketball, passion for working with people that appreciate who you are and how you do things, and a passion that didn't let you stop, right? Despite a poor relationship that kind of took you in a direction you didn't really want to go, you stayed with it. And here you are now bringing the basketball league to Columbus, and you've got a pretty cool opportunity to take guys you've already worked with before, and maybe we'll get another championship out of this, right? That's the goal, I would assume.
That's certainly the goal. And I would be wrong if I didn't pay homage to the team that existed here before. So there used to be a team here in town called the Columbus Condors. They experienced a tremendous amount of success within the basketball league. It's a very, very successful players, some great talent. Some of those guys are still here in the city. And so I would be remiss to not give them their credit where it's due because they did kind of set the tone for the basketball league here in Columbus, kind of started this vision for me early on. Basketball here in Columbus has always been, I would say, a commodity. You know, it's the
Mm.
culture that comes from within the game cannot be replicated. And here specifically in Columbus, we have a very, very competitive high school Columbus City League. So everybody is very proud of their side of town. Everybody's proud of their high school, and so that kind of carries into college, and then hopefully the minor league professional stage that we're trying to build up here in Columbus.
Yeah, the competitive side of this is interesting to me because when we talked earlier, there's other basketball programs in town that you don't want to compete with. You want to find a way to help flourish so the league generates a better level of interest for it's players, coaches, fans, and owners. You have a different perspective on competition. I want you to kind of explain what your thought is on the competition, because
Yes.
normally when you're talking to a business owner, they want to crush their competition. They want to dominate the marketplace. And you have a very, very different approach to it. So I want you to talk to the audience about that.
Yeah, so absolutely. So at our core, in doing this venture, it's always been about the community. Yes, we play the game of basketball within 4 quarters, and we can break that down even in any further and how many home games we have and how many fans we actually get to touch. But really, everything that we do is for the community. We're here to bring a positive beacon of hope to something that people can rally behind, kids can have mentorships with, and us as men, women within our program be able to speak to these individuals that may have some challenges going on. And so there's another new team here in town called the Grove City Whitetails, and I've become pretty good friends with their owner. His name's Stephen Fabian, and I see his son training in the YMCA here in Grove City every single day. So I've gotten fortunate enough to have a very good relationship with him and just offer a lending hand. Not so much involved in his business day-to-day operations, but there's a lot of tough lessons that I've had to learn over the last few years. And so for him as a startup, if I can help him kind of navigate through those or maybe offer suggestions or provide some sort of guidance without any expectation of a return, other than to know, hey, we're going to support each other in the community. Of course, there's no doubt and there's no question in my mind that our teams are going to compete immensely when it comes to the basketball court. He's very familiar with some of the talent that's on our team, and we're very familiar with some of the talent that will be on his team as both men that run professional organizations, of course, there's that competitive side. And once we get towards game time, I'm sure there'll be a little trash talking going back and forth. But once tip off happens, him and I will gladly sit at half court and we'll probably have a drink or two and maybe we'll go get something to eat afterwards and we'll reminisce and talk about it for sure.
That's the best way to do it, right? There's plenty of room for everybody to play. And I love the idea of we compete on the court, but whenever we're off the court, we support each other because that makes the business better because the community recognizes there's more opportunity to be part of the community than just one team. So you're doing a nice job of supporting each other. I like that a lot. You made comment that you have a lot of lessons that you want to help your competitor learn. What's the number one lesson you think you've learned as you've built one business separated with your partner now? Now you've got another one underway. What's the number one lesson, Casey, that you think really resonates with you?
I think without a doubt, the hardest lesson for me to learn is when to say no. So for me, I'm a gentleman that kind of overextends myself. I try to make everyone as happy as possible. And as you grow within your business, your hands-on becomes so less of an approach. You're not able to touch everybody on a day-to-day basis. And so you hear the stories that make your way to your desk or through a phone call, and you can't really resonate with that individual because you really haven't had a conversation with them. And so in order to grow a successful business, there are some times when you have to say no, no matter how painful it is. But in order for the business to succeed, you have to say no. And so that goes into the probably the overall biggest lesson that I have taken away from business in general, especially when you're building a brand, is that nothing can be bigger than that shield. Whatever the brand is that you're building, no individual, not an owner, a player, a coach, nothing can be bigger than that shield because it encompasses so much more than what you see at face value.
That's an interesting perspective, and I like that a lot. There's a difference of opinion there. I'm sure other people would have with you, but not walking in your shoes, they can't necessarily speak the same truth to the story you've been writing yourself. The idea that sacrificing everything for the business you're trying to build is something every entrepreneur goes through. But at some point, you have to realize, okay, when do I walk away from being the everything to everybody and turn into the one that's leading the charge and following my own path and dictating, delegating to other people, this is what we're trying to do, and I need your help, right? And I'm assuming you've got a team of people that follow you because they believe in your vision, your mission, and
Yep.
what you want to have accomplished, and getting yourself not distant from a sake of you don't want to do it anymore, but it's giving you a distance so you can be more productive in the things that an owner needs to be doing rather than doing everything for everybody because you're the only guy that does it, right? You built a team around you to make sure that they do this the right way. How is it that you build that team in your own image, in your own vision, Casey? How do you do that? What's been your history there?
So for me, I tend to be very vulnerable and humble when I approach anybody. And so I of course I want to sell the dream. I want them to get behind the vision. But at the base level, I want anybody that comes underneath me or associates themselves with me in any way when it comes to business to know that my job is not to be your boss. My job is not to be your superior. My job is to provide you with the best tools that I can to make sure that you're successful. Because inevitably, if I can build you to be success, that's going to work its way up to me, and we're all going to reap the benefits of that. Of course, it doesn't go it goes unspoken a lot of times, all that an actual owner or a business owner has to endure, both mentally, financially, with their relationships and friendships. A lot of that never gets discussed because, quite frankly, we don't have the time for it. Our time is so limited. And I tell everyone within my staff, there's two quotes that we kind of operate by. And, if I'm the most successful person in a room, that's a problem. And the other one is that time is our most valuable resource. So we operate, I would say, a lot less of a corporate business type structure, and we're a very, very close, tight knit family. Where I know I can call up any of the individuals that kind of work within our organization, and they'll answer at the drop of a dime. And any concerns that we have, we can kind of talk through. We don't really have a lot of dissension within our organization.
I love that. And that comes from a interesting place, right? Because not everybody wants to work the way you want to work. Not everybody sees the vision that you have, nor do they even have any interest in what you're trying to accomplish as a mission. But when you have people that see what you're trying to do, align themselves to it because they believe in what you're doing, and now they don't see you as a boss, they see you as a leader that's bringing them to a different place, and you're motivating them to do it because it's part of that vision and that part and that mission. It's not, well, come on in for 6 hours, I'll give you a paycheck, right? It's a different
Yep.
mindset, right?
Yep.
And I love the idea that you've got a group of people that engage with you because they want to. Don't get me wrong. I know they initially got involved because, hey man, you're going to give me money because I'll give you I'll sacrifice some of
Yep.
my time and you're going to give me money. Sure, Casey, I'll do that. And then once they get to work with you and they see what you're trying to accomplish, they either buy in or they check out. And the fact that the people that are remaining on your team have bought in, that's what makes it so much easier to be a leader because you have people that buy into your program. They see what you're trying to accomplish and all they want to do is be a part of it, right? That's a big piece. And I think a lot of businesses don't learn that lesson until far too long.
Well, I think the biggest thing that you have to do is you have to be transparent, right?
Mm.
If you're going to have some issues with payroll and you know that they're coming up, don't keep that from your closest people. You gotta a little bit of times you gotta put that pride aside and have these honest conversations because you don't know what that individual may be counting on with said paycheck. They may be living
Hmm.
paycheck to paycheck and they may be expecting it to come on the 15th and hey, I won't have it on the 15th, I'll have it to you on the 19th. Or if you make a mistake within a contract or any minute mistake that you make as a business owner, you have to take accountability and you have to be transparent about it because if you're not, then it has the ability to kind of fester, and then it could lead into some distrust. And again, we talked about building relationships. You want your people to know that you have their back because at the end of the day, as a business owner, I have to know that my people have my back. So in order to earn their respect, I have to prove time in and time out that I have their back.
Yeah, there's this interesting concept about earning respect versus handing it out like donuts, right? You just can't hand it out. You have to earn it. And it comes from experience with people, comes from how they end up feeling the way they've been treated. And if you treat people fairly, they most likely will respect you because they understand where you're coming from. And I understand your point. If I told you I was going to do something on the 15th and I'm not going to get it done until the 19th, waiting until the 17th or 18th to tell somebody, you're only fostering hatred at that point. You're only fostering a situation where people can't trust you because you're not telling them everything up front. And I agree with that. The number one piece that you have with your business team is trust. Candor and trust. If you can control those two things and have a group of people that trust you because you are so transparent, man, you got a team of people that really want to work for you. Otherwise, they're not going to stick around very much longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there have been times where, I've tried to bend the truth a little bit, and it never works out in your favor. It never works out in your favor when it comes to business because again, you're dealing with real people. And I think even us just as a class of people, as a group of people, we do a terrible job of kind of idolizing that word of perspective. And so we never truly know what anybody around us, we never really know what their story is until
Yeah.
we take a moment back and gather some perspective to say, wow, I understand where they're coming from. And that goes into all facets of life, right? That's life, that's your prosperity, that's your health. We all tend to criticize each other, but if we just took a moment to take that perspective, we would certainly be a lot better.
Well, that's a phenomenally stated point. I think we have so many people across this country that are divided into one camp or another, depending on what any topic, pick any topic, right? And you're going to have people on one side of the equation versus the other. And instead of sitting down and listening to what somebody has to contribute, all we want to do is criticize. And
Right.
when you have an environment or an atmosphere in a professional setting that is built on critique and lacking candor, it's not going to be successful because now everybody's constantly thinking, how fast do I need to look over my shoulder to make sure I'm not getting stabbed? And that's
Yep.
that's not productive at all, man. I can't imagine trying to build a team of people that are going to play 5-on-5 on a basketball court and then having people around them that are the support system and all they do is bicker and moan. That's not the team environment you're looking for. But if you can build a group of people that see you for what you are and follow your lead, you're gold, man. You're absolutely gold. With all this stuff going on, I'm curious, the biggest lesson is you said when to say no. What's the biggest challenge that Casey has gone through building this business reputation that you have, or what's the challenge you face that you think somebody would want to learn from?
I would say without a doubt, given that the Columbus Wizards have kind of been in operation for 3 years. So the previous 2 years we competed in the American Basketball Association. Different league, different level of talent, different standard. So when we made the decision from a business perspective to make the jump to the basketball league, it required a significant investment of capital, a much greater significant of much greater talent level, a much greater financial investment, a much greater just all around a higher level. And so, unfortunately, what that led me to have to do is to reset our standard. And so, all of the players that had played for me, played for our organization the previous 2 years that I personally have built relationships with, or maybe
Hmm.
had known outside of basketball, having to really reinforce the standard that we were setting as an organization with our coach, really saying, hey, it's not me making the decision. We've put someone in place that has the experience, that has everything needed to put this team in a successful position. That's who you have to speak to, and that's who you have to try out for. And so when they've gone through that process, I know that there were some personal feelings towards kind of myself and the other owners within our ownership group because they had known us the past 2 years and seen our faces, and we couldn't really give answers that they were looking for. And so I
Yeah.
would say from a business owner perspective is as you grow, you're going to add managers and you're going to put those managers in place to make decisions without your input. And so again, if an email comes to you, unfortunately, we know that the way the chain of command works in the business world is if it comes to the president and there's three levels before, it's probably going to get kicked back to that first level there to say what's going on. The
Yeah.
president himself is probably not going to respond. And so that's been, I would say, one of the toughest things to kind of navigate through.
All right. So you're leveling up. You're going from the ABA to the TBL, and your talent needs to be better. Your investment, your commitment needs to be a little stronger and tighter, right? So what I'm hearing is you're a business that's trying to get better, and you've got a group of people that fit a certain perspective and fit a certain ability to fulfill a role, and you've got some roles that aren't necessarily filled by the right person, and you're looking for talent to help you get to the next level. Some
Yep.
people, Casey, are going to come with you because they have that talent and that commitment and they're good enough to be there. Other people aren't going to make it. And they're either going to deselect themselves because they feel as if I'm not good enough to be here. I can't stay. I got to go find my opportunity elsewhere. Or they're going to be told, we are reaching to a new standard and you just don't cut it.
Yep.
Here are the things that you need to improve upon to get to that level. or straight out, I don't think you're ever going to be that person that could be here.
Yep.
That's a very difficult, very challenging message to send. I'm assuming you're in that process right now, or have you already
Yeah,
gone through
so
that?
so we have about 25 guys within our camp right now that we held tryouts at the end of August, and so we've been holding some private open gyms in the meantime. We've signed, I believe we have 10 guys signed under contract right now um, from all over. We have a gentleman by the name of Jay Farrell that's played for us uh, ever since all the teams that I've owned. The kid is a freaking stud. He's a lefty, averages 33 points a game. Of course, that was in the
Jeez,
American Basketball Association. We will see if that continues here into the basketball league as well. Guy by the name of Jalen Robinson, right here, Columbus, Ohio, played at Northland High School, went out to University of Dayton. Stud, absolute stud. I'm very excited to see him. And then
love it.
we have a another gentleman that was a former Buckeye, played here for The Ohio State University. I can't tell you his name right now. I would love to tell you, but I can't tell
Yeah.
you his name right now. He is officially signed and under contract, and he should be here in January of 2026, and then we'll make that announcement. But he has some prior commitments. From what I am told, he's going to be on a very popular dating show. So that's why I can't tell
Oh,
you what his name is. So there are some opportunities that are out there for him. So we'll see where
that's
that leads
awesome.
him, and I wish him nothing but success.
No, that's awesome, man. And I appreciate the candor and also the tease, which is really good. But I want to get back to this because I mean, not that there is such a strong analogy between competing on a basketball court and running a business, but I think there's a lot that we can align to.
Yep,
It takes a lot of lessons from one to make the other one work. And I think talent is one of the things that you're talking about. And that is, you've got some guys on your team that are good, right? Actually, studs, really good. And you're gonna wait. You have to wait to see how they're gonna do in the new league because you're raising your standards. But you knew there were some guys on the team that they're gonna be not what you need at the next level. So you had to
yep,
cut ties, right? And
yep,
that's tough. But when I look at this from a business perspective, and as you look to grow the Wizards into the next iteration of themselves, there are going to be people on the team that do not play on the court, but they're people on your team, the
yep,
back office people, the front office people,
yep,
that eventually they're either going to be the exact person that you need to go to the next level, or they're going to be the type of people that deselect themselves as you move your way into the next
yep.
iteration of yourselves. How do you come to grips with that as
So
an owner?
the one thing that we kind of operate on is during our season, we have moved ourselves towards a vision of it can wait until Monday. So the one thing that we do is if there's a problem at a game day on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, any of those, we'll have a brief conversation, make sure we understand the problem. But on Monday, when there's not the pressure of a game, when there's not the pressure of 3,000 people in the arena, when we can sit down and digest the facts and see where some of those, where do we drop the ball here or there, and we do an investigation and we see what the problem is and do a root cause analysis. We'll throw out some big terms there for the people that we all know in the business world, and we'll kind of see where did we fail. And because for us as a business, we very much take a lot of pride in the Savannah Bananas, and we try to mimic their customer service within our business. So
Yeah.
they are very, very much about the fans, and that's something that I love, admire, and appreciate. Because as I said, without the community, there is no real basketball
Mhm.
team. We're just a group of guys that show up to a college and play ball. We just happen to play ball against other guys that come from other states. And so without the community coming to support, know who we are, then we don't have what we have today. And so that's why we owe it to the community to live up to that standard.
Yeah, no, I love that. The fact that community is at the center of everything. And I love I just wrote no pressure Mondays, right?
Yep,
So your games are Thursday through the weekend, so you can't solve a problem when you're under pressure like that. So I understand the value of a no pressure Monday. As long as Mondays are used to really dive deep into what happened. So come the next Thursday, you don't have that repeat. That's a pretty good way of using your Mondays for successful moving, changing,
yep.
doing the things you need to do. When you're looking at this overall thing, what's the goal for 2026?
The goal is to be able to put a successful team on the court that represents Columbus in a positive way. So the friends, family, colleagues, everybody that comes out to support us leave with a good feeling, know that they were entertained, they were provided cost family friendly entertainment, that they were able to meet some pillars within the community. That would be my goal. Of course, there's always the goal in the back of my mind to have the financial success, but I was
Yeah.
asked what success looked like at our press conference earlier this year. And for me, success may look a little different. I know that we're in a different specialized sector of the business world. For me, knowing that I can provide a smile for a kid by putting a group of guys on a basketball court to play ball, to a kid that may otherwise may never have an opportunity to see the Buckeyes play, may never have the opportunity to travel up to Cleveland to see the Cavaliers play. If I can provide even the smallest form of entertainment to make some sort of impact on that individual's life, and they walk out with a smile on their face and a belly full from hot dogs, chips, and Gatorade, that's what a success looks like to me, because I've been that kid. I've been the kid that comes from nothing, grew up with a single mom, struggling to make ends meet, living off of government assistance. So I know what it's like to be that kid and have a strong desire to want to be better.
I love that, man. That success, a smile, somebody feels good about the experience, they get a chance to get a full belly and cheer and root for a local team that they have a bond with. That's success in everybody's book. That's awesome, man. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Um, as we get down to closing here, I think we've been talking for quite a while. We've been talking almost half an hour. It goes by quick.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
what is it that you would say? I mean, obviously you want to win a championship. You want to do all that stuff. And you've given us an understanding of what you see as success. If I were to tag somebody in the front office that you work with and ask them what they say is success, would they mirror what you say, or do they have a different vision?
I would absolutely agree that they would. For
Yeah.
instance, Randy Deneen, our chief operations officer, he is one of my right hand man. He understands what this is about, and we're a very faith driven organization, and I would say
Okay.
that we could probably do a little better job of being outward with our faith, but we also understand that we don't want to come off as pushy, and
Huh.
we don't want people to feel like they need to align with our vision in any way, shape, or form. But I think we all do this from a good place in our hearts, and we all try to genuinely try to be the light of the world as best as we can while using the game of basketball as a platform to do so.
Love that. Using basketball as a platform to do that. In other words, you're channeling not necessarily just your faith, but you're channeling your vision for happiness and what you define as success into that family or that young boy that's looking to have the exact same experience you had, which is, I just want to enjoy myself at a basketball game.
Yeah,
Can't be that hard,
absolutely.
right?
And rather seeing these guys from Columbus or wherever they're coming from, rather than seeing them going to an overseas country to play in a lower level league for, 12, 1,300 bucks a month, they don't understand the language that's there. They're in a completely different
Yeah,
place. They don't know the culture there. Rather than them feeling like they have to go there to play pro ball, we'd rather give them that experience here at home. We know that A, they can speak the language, B, they can form relationships with people within the crowd. C, we're able to market them just like the overseas team would, but we have their best interests in mind. And so we want to
yeah.
push them to be wherever it is that they want to be. So there's an internal motto that I've kind of pushed throughout our management team this year, and I've actually excuse me, I've actually asked our head coach, and that's what are your dreams worth? So for all these
Mm,
guys as players, you want to play pro ball, you want to earn a salary to play professional basketball and travel the country to do so. What's it worth to you? I understand you have a wife and kids at home. I understand that you have two jobs. I understand that mom's sick, but this is your dream. What are you willing to sacrifice to
yeah.
get there? Because I know all of the sacrifices that myself, my coaching staff, my management team, I know all the sacrifices that we're making now. And if we miss a step, that causes the whole operation to be stuck.
No, that's a good one. I mean, that's purely team environment, right? If I fall down, somebody's got to pick me up. If you miss the shot, I got to get the rebound. I got to get the outlet. Whatever the case may be, that's what pure teamwork is all about, is finding out how do we help each other, lift each other? How do we make sure that I get you, my counterpart, my teammate, to perform at the absolute best? Whether that's on the basketball court or you making the right decisions with your leadership team. It's all about teamwork. And if you can bring together a good team, goddamn, you have a really good opportunity to be successful.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Um, Last question for you. I'm going to put you in a time machine.
All right.
I'm going to send you back, and you get a chance to meet Casey at the ripe age of 18. What's that conversation with Casey sound like?
Uh, you're not the smartest person in the room at all times. You really need to, again, that word perspective is one that always stays at the forefront of my mind. The sooner that you can learn to put yourself in other people's shoes and try to understand their struggles, especially given the youth life that I had when I was a kid, and people not really necessarily knowing my full story and my background.
Yeah.
I would say I did a terrible job at 18 of thinking that the world revolved around me. Fresh out of high school, I knew it all. I was going to go to college, and I had the life, I had it all figured out. But life does have a very odd and unique way of humbling you and kind of letting you see that, hey, the world is massive and you're just one small speck in it every single day. But I will
Yeah.
say, I have the gratitude of being able to wake up every single morning, get my 10 toes planted on the ground, get my lungs full of life, and kiss my beautiful kids every morning. So I am blessed. I have no complaints, and I am very, very honored to be in the position that I am for sure.
That is a amazing perspective to have on life, on business, relationships. What a great encapsulation of a conversation well spent. Thank you so much, Casey, for being a part of the program. I really appreciate what you had to share. Um, all the information that anyone would need to get a hold of Casey and the Columbus Wizards will be in the description down below. Once we get the schedule, we'll put that out there. But I want to make sure that everybody in Columbus gets a chance to come out and watch some family fun, some great entertainment. And when they leave, I want them to feel just as well as you want them to feel. And that's full belly, smile, and enjoy the game of basketball. So thanks, man.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time, Scott. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, man. Absolutely. Next time, we'll see everybody on Legacy Leaders.